Stop the cap.
Let me see if I can make an abbreviated video on this topic because I got the fucking landscaper making all type of noise around me. I thought I went somewhere to freaking have this private conversation. But he's just buzzing all around my vehicle. Anyway, so you hear him? I can cut the background noise out. But anyway, Amazing Lucas put up a video about black athletes being with white women because I guess my brother put out a video and the video caught him, went viral, and he said this is I only deal with sisters, but this is what the brothers told me about why they deal with white women. I want everybody to keep in mind that basically nothing has changed in the course of time that we've been online, because when I came online, all of these brothers that are now these D1 players or got signed to the NFL or whatever the heck is going on, I'm not even paying attention because I don't watch sports like that. But I'm saying all these men now were under the age of 10 when I came online. Okay, I want you to keep that in your head, right? That nothing has changed. And I do think that some of things not changing has to do with the fact that black women aren't listening to black men. But there's other factors as well. I'm just throwing that one out there. But I had a brother, contact me. He sent me a message, and the message was basically it was a reference to not Amazing Lucas's clip or the clip he's talking about, but it was a clip of Umar Johnson, and Umar Johnson was talking about how these white girls invest in black men when they're in college, and that's how they get the bag with the NFL players and all that other shit. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, that's bullshit. And then even the brother that sent me the link, I mean, he dates out way more than he dates in. And even he was like, nah, he's like, this is bullshit. And he said the same point that the Captain and Solo I, talked about, which is, these white girls, these black girls can't play house with you. A lot of them do not come from the same type of supportive background that white women come from, even if their father is present. You know what I mean? We already know that there's economic disparity between whites and blacks. And that you could tell just by you go to any predominantly white institution and look at the parking lot and look at the cars that white women are driving. I'm sure today it's brand new Tesla 3s and shit like that versus the cars that black women are driving on campus. Now, granted, in college, especially at a predominantly white institution, you're probably going to find more. There is probably the best place to find black women who come from supportive backgrounds, because most of the people who even make it to college disproportionately come from supportive backgrounds, because it is an expensive endeavor to go to college. It's expensive, plain and simple. I mean, aside from the theft, of the freaking the school bookstore and the cost of books and all that stuff. I don't know if that stuff is online now, but when I went to school, they had $75, $100. You had used books. Like the book itself was like $135, and you could get it used for like $90. Right? That shit was retarded. So the school bookstore, that was one thing. Well, forget the school bookstore. I'm saying, going back to the whole aspect of, family support. White girls tend to have more family support than the black girls, on average. Okay. So the idea of like the guy got into talking about the white girls, buying you stuff and just doing things for you, as opposed to it being the other way around, that's 100% accurate. I mean, I've seen white women in school do that with white men. There was one guy, I remember we were going and getting our advanced degrees, and he had a white woman. He was from Kentucky. He had a white woman that she, it was like halfway through the semester. He's like, oh, my girlfriend's visiting. And then she left, and then she came back, and then she like stayed permanently. And nobody particularly cared for her because she was ravenously defensive of, her boyfriend. Like, other bitches didn't even want her boyfriend, but she would get into fights with other women, acting like, they were trying to move in on her man. And I remember when he broke down to me, he was like, nah, she comes over here, she lives with me, and she's like, he's like, I don't have to do shit but study. I was like, what do you mean you don't have to do shit from study? He's like, she does my clothes, she's cooking for me, she cooks me breakfast in the morning, before I go to class, she's ironing my clothes, and then, obviously if I'm stressed out, want some sex, I get that. She'll top me off. She's like, I'm getting that. And I'm like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I hear you, but nigga, that's gonna come at a cost. You know what I mean? And truth be told, what ended up happening? He married her, and well, actually, she got pregnant before they got married, but she got pregnant. He married her. She got pregnant again. Now they got 2 kids together. You know what I mean? And, he's got a fantastic career, and he's, balling out of control. And so that shit worked out for her. But the idea that there's some sort of conniving shit that white women are doing, I can tell you that white women do that shit for white men. And the argument is they'll do that shit for anybody whoever it is that they want to invest in, they'll do that. And the thing is that white girl, I don't even think she came from the most supportive background. Again, they're from Kentucky. Kentucky ain't at the top of the highest income states, in the country. You know what I mean? But she was doing all the domestic shit. And I'm not saying that a woman necessarily has to do that. What I am saying is the women who do that have a better chance of locking down a guy than a woman who doesn't. So when it comes to these white girls doing that, I get the brothers on, the experience that they're going through. I do think that black women have made a horrendous reputation about themselves as being gold diggers. All this Shira 7 shit, sprinkle, the whole, because I think the biggest problem for black women is the fact that they're trying to shake the stench of poverty off of them. And they think that they can just skip to, you're going to do this for me. They have this sort of this attitude that black men are indebted to black women, and black men have to do X, Y, and Z for them because, they feel downtrodden or whatever, because this brother over here made a colorist statement, or Lil Wayne made a colorist statement in a song, or Pop Smoke made a colorist statement, something like that. They put things in this sort of black men owe black women. And in my opinion, that's the wrong way to approach it. And the reason why I say it's the wrong way to approach it is because the biggest problem that I see for black women is they haven't established that they even like these guys. Contrary to popular belief, a lot of the black athletes are corny. A lot of the black athletes are, ELs. Remember, you go to a D1 school, you had to maintain your grades. You weren't in the streets. You weren't out here slanging. You weren't a D-boy. None of that stuff. And you weren't rapping, right? And black women's promoted loyalty is to those men that are in the streets. The D1 situation, and and especially like when it comes to college, like what type of sisters are at college? It ain't the hood chicks that are at universities in college, right? It's sisters that are in the books themselves. There might be a handful of sisters that got some type of balance, but you're going to run into a lot of Ebony K. Williams types. You're going to run into a lot of the sisters that, like, they grew up, in not the greatest environment, but they got a scholarship, and they love to feel superior to black men. And then here you got a black man, they can feel superior to dudes in the street, but here you got a black man that, he's there on a D1 scholarship. He's getting all this attention and whatnot, because especially with the athletes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tall, but when I'm standing next to a nigga that's 6'8", like, I'm short. You know what I'm saying? Like, these dudes, I mean, when they walk into a space, They walk into a space. I remember I went to there was a bar in Florida outside Orlando. It was what the damn name of the bar was. It was at what school is that? It's the damn, I can't even think of what the school is. FSU. What is it? F something. Anyway, can't think of what the school is. But there was a bar that was over there. And I remember I was in that bitch, and there was, some basketball players, there. And I mean, these niggas was towering over me. I was like, damn, nigga, how tall are you? You know what I mean? And I'm not used to saying any shit like that. And I just remember when they would walk through the crowd, I remember just the white women where they were just looking up like, oh my God. It's like, I don't know if you ever seen the brother 6'8" the Great, King 6'8" the Great or something like that he's got a YouTube channel and he's got an Instagram, and he's got this clip that's blowing up right now of him just walking. And I mean, I don't know if he's in Cali or whatever, because a lot of women look like Mexican, or I think he's in Houston or Texas or something like that. Anyway, I mean, the way that the women are looking at him, that is literally the attention that these brothers get from these non-black women on these college campuses. I'll put the link in the description box, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, you just walking through the crowd, and the women, oh my God, how tall are you? Like, they are hypnotized and shit. And when it comes to, the type of sisters that are in college, it's what their demeanor is going to be, I can't specifically say. But I know you're going to have some Ebony K. Williams in there. I know you're going to have some black women with some Pam from Martin type of black women in there. You know what I mean? I know you're going to have some black women who just generally feel, black men, you owe us, and I shouldn't have to. I'm a black woman, goddammit. I shouldn't have to do what this white girl is doing. And some of them don't even know what the white girl is doing. Again, we've seen all the conversations. Like, even that clip of that white guy that was talking to black men had nothing to do with that clip. That sister that went up there, and she wasn't a bad looking sister, but the one that the guy, it's a clip of a white guy who's entered the manosphere, and the black woman's up there like, talking about making a sandwich for a dude is slavery. I'm not your slave. And even the white guy was like, God damn. He was like, she equated like doing stuff for her man to slavery. He was like, what the fuck? And yeah, so you got that too. But I'd say, one of the things that hurts black women is the IOU on top of the, when I say the IOU, that sense of indebtedness that they feel that black men have to black women, which is reinforced by the gold digging concept, worsened by the Shearer 7 sprinkle movement, right? Which I don't know how much that applies to black women in college. I really don't. Right? But what the brother said in the video clip of chicks like, oh, I know you got it like that, or I know you good for that, and you need to, buy me this and buy. I'm like, chick, y'all have not established a reputation of really even being into these guys like that. Now, I don't know how much, that impacts shit, but I'm like, you haven't established a reputation. You just kind of showed up like, I'm a black woman, and therefore I get insta this and insta that. Again, when you all talk about loyalty and you were down to drug dealers. You were down to niggas. Like, anytime you're sitting there talking about, like, I saw, there was a clip that I just pulled up, a Shearer 7 that wasn't from Shearer. It was somebody who reposted her shit, on the gram. And I'm looking at the clip and I'm reading the comments. And one of the women was like, yeah, girl, ain't nothing. What did she say? What is it? Oh, don't let me mess it up. It was no black man falls in love faster than a nigga that needs a place to stay. And I'm like, clearly off top, you not talking about college niggas. Clearly off. You see what I'm saying? Like the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the rhetoric of what sisters are even saying. Like, you're saying that you go out here and you get with dust, and then you come back on the market and then you make all these fucking demands. You know what I mean? But it's like the whole thing with Haley Bailey and DDG. It's like, damn, you done let this nigga bust all up inside you. Granted, he's not a Dusty, but he does imitate or try to represent the streets. That's not a good look. All that competition that Haley is doing, where she didn't even come from that background, she's trying to compete with Ruby Rose and all this other shit, and I'm like, that's a whole world that you're not really a part of. You were supposed to be Black America's sweetheart, Black America's darling, and you went out there and you became a baby mama. You see what I'm saying? So again, that is y'all reputation as Black women, that you're immersed in street culture. And how some of you all, I get the whole, you want to escape poverty and you want to escape the stench of it, but how are you to escape the stench of poverty, but yet you are always trying to intimately associate yourself with street culture? Street culture does not evoke the idea or concept, when a man looks at you, of wifey material. You know what I'm saying? And again, notice when you see these white women that these guys are with, and I said this shit years ago about the brothers, and when they get with the white women and y'all be bringing up fat white bitches, and y'all be bringing up, what you see, Dusties in Alabama, motherfucking getting with, okay? At Walmart at 3 o'clock in the morning. Do any of these guys look like they're getting with those type of white women? No. They're getting with white women whose dads are Grant Wellington III. They're getting with white women whose dads are executives and shit like that. They're getting with white women who look like Madison Brooks. Okay, these are white women that by all outward appearances, you couldn't look at her and be like, oh, she gets with Black guys. These are the white women that white men get mad about when they see a Black man with her, because there's no way in their mind for them to dismiss her because she doesn't look like, some ghetto trash white girl that's got her hair wet and slicked back and got hoop earrings and wearing some fucking Jordans like Kaylee Gaines. Okay? Those are the white women that they expect to get with brothers. You're not going to see those white women in college at a D1 4-year institution. You're not. Okay? College is a huge societal filter. A huge societal filter. And that always seems to get ignored in these conversations. You know what I'm saying? There is literally an invisible wall from the rest of society once you get on campus. There's certain things that go on in society that aren't necessarily going on campus. It's its own ecosystem. And a lot of people miss this point. People who are both for and against, people who are criticizing and saying whatever they want to say about all these situations from both sides, men and the women, and it always kills me when you get these voices that come out that didn't even go to 4-year institutions. You know what I mean? Just like with the Madison Brooks case and the white people going crazy, I'm like, you clearly didn't go to a 4-year institution, because you don't know what these white women are doing in college. I can tell you, these white women are busting it wide open in college, especially for the brothers, because brothers have that reputation of being the forbidden fruit. On top of the fact that the white girls, they're in college and they sitting there thinking like, oh, good, here's a Black guy that made it. You know what I mean? They think, chances are he'll have a decent career. He's educated. I've always wanted a Black guy. I wanted to fuck with a Black guy. But the Black guys that I've seen, are, in the streets and, low status, low quality, in poverty. And these guys have been filtered out. So, I can get a Black guy that A, comes from a supportive family, and B, looks like he's going somewhere. And those are the ones that they're going to be all over if they're into brothers. But there's a lot of white women that, they don't even have any history, of dealing with brothers. They're curious, but they don't have any real history. A lot of y'all will say that there's no genuine way for a white woman to be interested in a Black man. It's just simply not true. Obviously white men, they don't like the shit, so they're going to talk their shit. Black women don't like the shit, so they're going to talk their shit. That's what goes on. But again, I'll just sit there and say to all the people that are talking about, like Umar Johnson, that are talking about, Black women ain't making the investment like the white girls. I would argue that as a rule, black women can't make that type of investment. And I don't think, it's necessarily a fair, no, it isn't a fair comparison. It's just not a fair comparison. But I would have to see like what the demographics are of the black women that are at some of these schools. I mean, some of these schools that these guys are going to, some of these D1, schools, like, I mean, just go online and see what the black population is. I'm pretty sure it's very small. It's very small. So there isn't really much to compare to. It's not like if a dude is in a class, this is what I hate when people do. People will do this bullshit. A brother will be in a class of 30 students. There's 2 black women in there. There's 15 white women in the classroom. And black women will be like, he leaped over those 2 sisters. I'm like, statistically speaking, he didn't leap over those 2 sisters. Statistically speaking, in a thermodynamic reaction, he is what is that? 15 times more likely probably to bump into any one of those other white girls in the room than the black woman. You see, so and then there's the whole difference in sexual market value. Yeah, the black woman's going to zero in on the brother that's the only brother in the classroom, or maybe there was one other brother in the classroom. Yeah, she would rather probably, get with the athlete than get with the other Poindexter in the room. So you got factors like that. But I'm saying, yeah, she's going to focus on that brother because most sisters are not interested in other races of men. And most sisters don't feel that other races of men particularly care for them and find them attractive. And if you scroll around social media, I was looking at some post the other day, and it had like, and the black girl didn't even look black. She was as whitewashed as could fucking be. But it was like, if you had to disqualify, it was a black dude playing basketball or something. It was like, if you had to disqualify any one of these women, which one it want to be? And I mean, the comment section just went racist. It was white, Hispanic, black, and Asian. And in the lower right hand corner, it had the chick from the Asian chick from freaking what was that movie? What was that show called? That Korean show. The game, the death game, or whatever it was called. You know what I'm talking about, where they got the jumpsuits on and they got the PlayStation buttons on their face and shit like that. Yeah, that, I can't think of what the hell it is. I'm not having a brain fart. But in any event, the whole comment section was filled with racist comments. And pictures of monkeys, the N-word, like when I say like the N-word, like one guy, he had like a blinking thing of a big ass N. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm like, this shit is fucked up. Now the world could have just been trolling, but we already knew what time it was going to be, or I knew what time it was going to be before I even clicked on the comments. I was like, oh, here we go with the fucking comments. This is going to be a racist fest in the comment section. But when it comes to black men don't have that same sense of neglect in the sexual market value as black women do, at a predominantly white institution. There are white women that are at that institution that are chocolate chasers, and they want to get themselves on some black peen, and it's going to go down. And then on top of that, you have the status of being an athlete. Please, you know what I mean? Like I've witnessed this shit myself. You know what I mean? I went over dude's apartment one time. He was like, yeah, we're going to go out, da-da-da-da. Yeah, swing through like 9:30. We pregame. We go out. He was on the team. I go over there. I walk in. He's got fucking one white chick ironing his clothes, and the other white chick, I think she was doing something in the kitchen. And he just over there like it's nothing. He had a white roommate too, but those 2 white girls were there for him. I was like, this is insane. And y'all wonder where, brothers can get these sort of gassed up heads, shit like that. Obviously, you have to have something. That's across the board. I saw comments from sisters talking about, but he's going to lose it all when she divorces him and takes half that money. Y'all act like black women don't divorce dudes and take their money. On top of the fact that I thought it was sprinkle, right? I thought it was all about getting the dude and getting the bag and shit like that, which again, you all have voiced entirely too loudly. Like, again, like, here's the weird thing. Do black women accept black men, that have less? Yes, they do. They've been doing it. And so the idea is that black women are trying to get away from that reputation because the shit didn't pan out and they didn't get anything out of it, right? But the strange thing is, at the same time, you got a lot of women yeah, the dude doesn't have anything legitimately, but he's got something non-legitimate. Like, there's like mixed populations in there. Like, you got dudes that are selling drugs, they're not moving weight, but they're selling a bit of little weed, right? But if he gets locked, or if, he gets, something happens to him or something like that, then all of a sudden it's going to be he's dusty, right? Even if she was benefiting from whatever illegal activity he was doing. It's one of the things that causes me to have a lot of contempt for black women, is shit like that. When I see the lack of loyalty even to the men that were doing illegal activity, you know what I mean? Again, everybody else that's on the straight and narrow is dusty. Then when that dude gets killed or locked, then they're going to run around and then slander him and say that, he was dusty and this, that. And I'm like, he wasn't dusty when he was, when you were riding around in his, freaking Charger with the 22-inch rims on it. I know that's not your car. Come on now. You don't need to talk about that man like that. Okay, he got locked and everything, but don't act like he wasn't generous and breaking bread when he was out here and y'all was in the club popping bottles and shit, and he was up there with the big ass chain and whatnot, and his homie snitched on him or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, don't sit up in here and try to pretend like he was just nothing. Come on now. That would be crazy. That would be like King Von's, ex talking crazy on him. Like, come on now. You know what I mean? That man, came through and broke what was that broke $50,000 with the homies and shit like that. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm just saying, black women, you have a reputation of quote unquote being with dusty men, but it's the wrong type of dusty men. Like you all are out here with dudes that are in the streets a lot of times. You're not out here with dusty college students. You're not out here with dusty and the thing is like, think about how ridiculous that is. Like, you actually have to be on campus in order to interact with these guys, because that's where they're going to be for 4 years. Then I throw in the fact that, again, 42% of black women, of the 61% of black women who become mothers, are becoming mothers under the age of 20. It's not college guys that are doing that. It's not guys in college that are getting you pregnant. The most of you all are getting pregnant with dudes in the streets. Yeah, that's a crazy number. 42% of the black women who become mothers, out of the 61% of black women who are mothers, 42% become mothers under the age of 20. You graduate college. If you go into college at 18, you graduate college at 22. So these women are getting, 42% of the black women who will ever become mothers are getting pregnant before black men who are in college even graduate college. So it's like, you'll get this, black women, they're not being chosen. And I'm like, right off top, we already got an imbalance with the numbers. Because those guys in college are the least likely, to have kids. And you've already, the 42% of the black women who ever become mothers have already had kids. That's almost half have already had kids before a brother has even graduated college. There's so many factors here. There's so many variables. And black women want to chalk it up to, colorism. They want to chalk it up to self-hatred of that the black man has, or self-hatred, or hatred of the black woman. I'm like, this is way more factors than that. But yes, the behavioral stuff also is a factor. What these guys are getting. I would never charge black women with, a white girl, she's spending money on you. You know, these are the brothers that'll drive around and they'll be in their, they'll sit there and they'll be in their, see, now he feels bad because he done put all the shit all on my vehicle. Hold on. He's over there trying to blow this shit off because he knows he put a whole bunch of shit on my whip. But anyway, what was I about to say? About the behavioral. Damn, what was I about to say? I lost my train of thought about the behavioral stuff. Damn, someone's gonna say, hold on. I think I remember. I was saying that I wouldn't charge black women to it, but that's hard for black women to compete with. You know, like, I mean, you got to, we've all seen the guy, riding around in a chick's car, riding around in a chick's BMW, white girl in the passenger seat, especially like when they're really young, when they're like in their early 20s. Yeah, chances are the car is hers, and she's with her black boyfriend, and you know how women, I don't want to drive, you drive. They know that shit doesn't look right. Or the stuff with just the gestures, buying him some, like, and that's the whole thing that's crazy. And I don't know what type of etiquette black women have. You know what I mean? But with the Cash App, I know that there's white women out here that are like, are you going to Cash App me? Or so? I know that exists. But you know what the problem? You know what I think the real issue with sisters is? Like, y'all be posting this shit online, thinking that you doing something. Y'all be telling on yourselves, about the, y'all need to Venmo me, y'all need to Cash at me, like the drizzle shit. I know the white men tagged on to black men's drizzle because Kevin Samuels brought a lot of white men into the space, of the gender war and the frustration that they're having. White women, it was crazy is, looking at white women interacting with white men. Like, I'm like, I see why white men get sick of them, because I'm like, especially listening to black women, I'm like, they're like, yeah, black men, you haven't done what white men have done for their women. And then you'll have white women that are bitching about the patriarchy. And I'm like, what are you bitching about? Like, white men have done everything for you. What the fuck are you bitching about? You're the global beauty standard and you're provided for and all this other shit. Hell, even when white men engage in rape and pillage, you all benefit. Like, the fuck? You know what I mean? But then when these white women get over to black men, it's like, it's a different energy. It's a different vibe. I'm gonna have to contact my circle of black men that dabble in fooling with white women. I'm gonna have to contact them and be like, okay, what is all bullshit aside, what is the difference? Because white men are saying that they're having a horrible time with these white women. So how is it that you, as a black man, have a better time or interaction with white women than these white dudes? What is the difference? Because I want to know what the key difference is, because there's no real excuse for that. Like, there's no, you know what I'm saying? Like, if she's a gold digger with Brad and Grant Wellington III, then she should be a gold digger with you, right? She should be, right? She shouldn't be getting you lattes and shit like that. Because are the white boys getting treatment? I don't know. White men, are you getting that type of treatment? Is Becky buying you lattes, tall lattes and shit like that? Is she getting you the pumpkin spice? Is she bringing you pumpkin spice, to you on the job? Like, like, what's going on? What is going on with Becky? Or are you just, spending money, making it rain on Becky, and that she thinks that she's entitled to that shit? I got one white friend of mine, and I will call him a friend, that, because I have broken bread with him. But I'm saying, when it comes to his what the fuck is it? When it comes to his wife, you know what I mean? Like, he's spending obnoxious amounts on his wife, and it annoys him. He's annoyed. He's like, you don't need blah, 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 blah. Like, they got fucking horses and shit. And she tried to talk about, she was like, can we get a pig? They got like this like little farm. And she's like, can we get a pig? He's like, what the fuck is this? Charlotte's Web? Like, he was snapping. He called me up, blowing a gasket. He's like, I already got you 2 fucking Arabian horses. Bitch, what the fuck else do you want? He was snapping. Because she was talking about she wanted a pig. He's like, this ain't fucking Charlotte's Web. I was killing myself, right? But, he was talking about, he was like, look, I married her because she's traditional, You know what I mean? But like, I think that I spoiled her too much because I got her all. Now she just fucking expects it. But he was like, I'll still say that like when I need something, like she gets it done. Like he'll be on business trips, he'll make a phone call. He's like, look, I forgot this. At the office. I need you to go take this to Jerry. I need Jerry to make these changes, and then I need you to take it, and I need you to fax it to me, right? And then like she'll do it. Like she's on it, you know? And so, it's things like that, obviously, right? Because he's got this business. Obviously, what he needs affects his capability to provide for her. So, it's like, chick, you better get on it. And I do think that there's a line to be drawn between wife treatment versus girlfriend treatment. And I'm not here to draw the line. I don't know where the line is on when you're in the interview process in dating of trying to demonstrate that you are a wife. I do still think that black women make the error of approaching black men like black men owe them something. I think that's one of the biggest errors that black women make. I'm like, this brother doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't matter if you had a bad experience with the black man who came before you. This brother doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't matter if you're even a single mom. This brother damn sure doesn't owe you anything because he's not the one that pumped you up full of a baby. And so we got a lot of bitter black women out here that act like they're not only entitled, but that they're owed, and that there's some, historical, magical, spiritual essence of slavery and Jim Crow that because of white supremacy that black men owe black women because they didn't get to experience the myth of white womanhood, the myth of upper middle class white womanhood. And black women come off like that. And I'm like, and not only that, they come off like that on a lot of the brothers that can least afford it, which are young black men that just came out of high school that are just trying to get their lives started. And again, it looks crazy when you got sisters that are busting it wide open for men that have less. They're not even on the trajectory of going anywhere. They don't have anything going on. They just whispered a few sweet nothings in your ear, and next thing you know, you busting it wide open. Then when you come across a dude, I just saw a clip from a chick on IG about this shit. The chick was sitting there talking about how women, they'll go out there and they'll fuck with a dude this is a black woman saying this. They'll go out there and they'll fuck with a dude, and I already know this. I've already known this. They'll fuck with a dude that doesn't have anything going on, and then when they come across a guy that they think has something going on, they start thinking long term, and they're like, oh, I want him to respect me. I want him to think that I have value, so I'm going to shut it down. And I'm going to make him wait. And the thing is the word has already got out. We already know men that talk. We already know that that's what a lot of y'all are doing. Y'all, you was busting it wide open for Tyrone and Marquise and Davon. You know what I'm saying? You were busting it wide open for them, and then as soon as you get to the black man that's on the straight and narrow, now all of a sudden you want to lock it down and become a born again Christian. Niggas ain't trying to hear that shit. You know what I mean? Contrary to popular belief, Poindexter wants them cheeks just as much as Tyrone and DeMarcus wanted them cheeks. You know what I mean? But y'all be trying to shut it down, trying to, act brand new, and we know that that's a sucker's ass game. So Becky and many of these other non-black women, quiet as it's kept, they don't make brothers wait like that. They don't make brothers wait like that. And I don't know whether that's good or bad. There's hoes over there too. You just gotta feel the shit out. But black women, y'all have a reputation of, supporting and giving things to the type of men that have not demonstrated any iota of being forthcoming with, what they're going to do for you in the near future. Y'all have a bad reputation in that. And then if you get used or that situation doesn't work out, then you want to tax literally the category of black men that you all don't even have a reputation of even dealing with. And I'm like, that's not going to go over. Personally, I'm like Lucas said in the video, he was like, our sister's just done. I would lean towards yes. And the reason I would lean towards yes is because black women would have to fight against the reputation that they currently have. And I don't know if they can do it. I don't know if they can do it. It requires too much discipline. I'll tell you the first area that literally is all on them to do. It's 100% on them to do. And I doubt that they could even do that. Forget all the other stuff. Forget all the other interpersonal the interpersonal relationship type of stuff that we talked about in terms of treatment and everything else. No. Bring the fucking the 42% of y'all having babies underneath the age of 20 down. Bring that shit down. Bring the whole no wedding, no womb numbers up. I mean, one thing about it, y'all definitely should not be getting pregnant to men that you're not married to. That should not be happening. That should not be happening. So it's like if black women can't even fix those numbers, I don't have any real hope that they're going to change anything else. And I know that, look, men only have one life to live. And if you at all are any sort of, a headache, or you're seen as a liability, and not only that, these are black men that it's already hard. I mean, all these brothers that are in college still, when they graduate college, they got to go out there and beg a white man for a job 9 times out of 10. Right? They still have all type of obstacles, to overcome. And some sisters will argue, well, that's why we don't want to support. Okay, well then don't complain that, Becky's making more of an investment than you are. Don't complain about that. If you want to sit there and say, well, y'all got a whole bunch of shit that y'all got to go up against. You know what I mean? So I'm saying, damn, there's a point I was going to make about that. Oh yeah, liabilities. Yeah, you can't be a liability with a black man in a situation like that. You cannot be a liability. And if you are a liability, brothers ain't gonna fuck with you. Right now there is a serious brain drain going on in the black community. This is one of the reasons why a lot of black women don't want black men to be successful. Because if they are successful, chances are then they're not going to put up with, what sisters think black men should put up with. They're not going to put up with it. They're going to literally go elsewhere, whether that's overseas. Now that's on the table. That was never on the table before. Like, brothers weren't like, I'm going overseas to get a chick. Like now, like, no, it's and I'm not even getting the viability of that. You still got to be in a position to provide, even if you bring the bitch back here, all that other stuff. This is the whole bunch of complex stuff. And guaranteed they're going to try to change the laws once the numbers get bad enough. I was talking to Captain Solo and he brought up thinking, Abe, I got to listen to the video, but he's 100% right, because I came to the same conclusion that this society, it wants to, the capitalists want to vacuum up all the wealth towards them and whatnot. And they want to, they have this situation where, again, they don't want to pay, the patriarchy is dead. They don't want to pay men enough to support families. And so men are going to adapt and adjust, and they're going to run off. And somehow this society, both the capitalists and women, think that they're going to somehow still extract productivity from men. I'm like, that's not going to happen. The men are going to go off in another direction, and things are just going to get worse economically, infrastructurally, all that other stuff, because at the end of the day, it's like, Jay-Z's album, Fuck You, Pay Me. You know what I mean? So things are going to get bad, in my opinion, in the coming, in the near future. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to say about this. I think I covered all the bases. I don't think it's the support aspect, the fact that black women don't come from the type of homes that a lot of these white women are coming from. I don't think that that's a fair assessment. I don't think brothers should be charging black women, against that. This goes into the whole, like, how much courtesy are black men and women going to give each other? it doesn't seem like black men and women are willing to give each other any amount of courtesy, at this point. You know what I mean? Like, black women don't want to give black men courtesy to, the time that they got to put together to put some, to establish, a proper foundation or establish anything, because, again, a lot of black men are going to have to do that shit from scratch because they don't have the same support system that a lot of sisters have. The other thing is, when it comes to this lack of support system that sisters have, how much leeway are brothers going to give black women, because I'm saying at the end of the day, we got to give each other some type of leeway, you know what I mean? Because we're not the dominant members of society. And if people want to talk about keeping it black and keeping it, fixing the black community and everything, concessions are going to have to be made on both sides. But, listen to Shira 7 and listen to the women of that ilk, and those type of voices, and even some of the other black men that say things about black women. I'm like, well, it don't sound like any concessions are being made, and it's just going to be black people desperately trying to crawl out of the barrel, trying to get to other races, which, in my opinion, in the long run, that'll backfire. Because trust me, once other groups start picking up on you're over here because your community is shit and your community is broken and you can't get it along with your own over there, that you just opened yourself up to tons of disrespect. It would be better if black men and black women could work out their differences and get along and on our other shit. But, and I'm biased because I'm a man, I think that the matriarchal beliefs got completely out of control. Black women have the wrong orientation. They believe in a bunch of nonsense that isn't real. They're sexually irresponsible. You can't check them. They think that all the wrong type of black men are sexy. They don't think long term. And what else? There's another thing that the women. Oh, again, just like with Ebony K. Williams, their self-perception, their identity, sense of empowerment, interferes with an intact black community, or the black community, the traditional patriarchally oriented black community interferes with that concept in their mind. And this is what I said I was walking away from the gender war, because I started picking up on the fact that black women want black men to be broken. That way they can continue to justify black female leadership, and they can continue to justify the ideas of them being in charge and them running shit. Because if black men are whole, then it's like if black women grabs the steering wheel, it's like, bitch, what the fuck are you doing? You're out of pocket. But as long as they can maintain the image that black men are broken, right? Then, they can avoid being confronted with the idea that they're out of pocket, that they're out of bounds. You see? I mean, going back to Ebony K. Williams, I'm like, she up there, dust is everywhere, truck drivers, he got to own the company. But yet, she brings up, 2-week vacations to the south of France. Who was offering the 2-week vacation to south of France, and why the fuck did you turn that down? I don't want to hear anything else from Ebony K. Williams except for her to answer that question. I don't want to hear nothing about anything else that she got to say except for, why did you turn down the 2-week vacation to the south of France? Why did you go up there and say, Ebony K. Williams is going to be in LA. Ebony K. Williams is going to be at the lawyers conference in South of Florida. Why did you turn down a 2-week vacation? And see, the thing is that's what we don't hear, enough about. We don't hear about what black women are turning down. We hear complaints about, and the black man, he went in there and chose this other race of woman, and I was out here and I was supporting dust, and there's so much dust out here, and niggas is dusty, and ain't nobody on my level. We don't hear about the 2-week vacations getting turned down, right? We don't hear about, we hear about Sherry Shepherd, these black men, they don't want us, colorism, but we didn't hear about, Hill Harper shooting his shot at Sherry Shepherd and Sherry Shepherd turning him down. We don't hear those stories. Granted, she could say, oh, he light-skinned, I wanted my black king. Okay, fine. But don't sit up in here and act like nobody wanted me. Just absolutely nobody wants the black. Bullshit. See, they always want to be victims. They always want to be victims. You know, just like Love Dorsey set up there on Antoine's show, you know, talking about, yeah, they don't want a fucking Russell Wilson because Russell ain't about to do no fuck shit. You know what I mean? They want the sad story. I was out here with Pookie, and Pookie, he broke my heart. Pookie went and he got me pregnant, and he didn't put no ring on it. And then he was selling drugs, and then he got locked up, and I bailed him out of jail. And then he got out, and then he found God, and everything was good for about 6 months. And then he decided that he was going to go back to school, and I paid for that too. And then he went to school and went to community college, and he was getting straight A's. And then he got a scholarship to Harvard. I don't know how, but they saw his grades, and they was like, come on in, brother. And then he went to Harvard, and then he graduated Harvard, and then got involved in one of the biggest law firms. You know, he was a part of Morgan & Morgan in New York. And then he met a white woman that was an intern, and then he left me and got with her, and then they got married and lived happily ever after. And me, I'm just out here and I'm just living in dust. Like that. I'm like, really? So he went from drug dealer to lawyer, working at a big ass law firm in New York, and he got a white wife on it. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? But like, sisters want that. They want that narrative. They want that story. You know, like, it's like they do not want there to be like, oh, I was with this brother and he was kicking ass, and you know, I didn't like the fact that he was outshining me. And see, they don't want to admit that. What's so crazy is the brother that originally called me, that is exactly the situation that he had with, you know, his ex. You know, she's a professional, he's a professional, and they were together. And he took his profession to social media, which allowed it to blow up. And he's making all type of wild money, and he's got people know him. He can walk around, and people recognize him and everything else like that. And she felt some type of way. She wanted to be a quote unquote power couple. She wanted them to be recognized together equally. And the fact of the matter is everywhere they would go, they would go up to him and be like, oh man, you're da 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 da, sign my t-shirt. They would be up there, trying to get autographs and shit. And she wasn't getting that type of clout. She wasn't getting that type of shine. And she felt some type of way. That's the Ebony K. Williams effect. You know what I mean? And I'm saying this is a black man who met, his ex, while they were in school. They were in school together. They dated, right? Even after they got out of school, they were together. They were dating. But she just could not bring herself to play, second fiddle to him. You know what I mean? And I mean, it was the way he told me the story. It was all big crying session. She's in the living room. They're in a luxury apartment together. She's in the living room crying, I can't be the woman that you want me to be. And he's crying, and, I'm like, God damn. Talk about first world problems. Talk about first world problems. I'm like, damn, it's that deep. Like, she cannot play. She can't be the candy on your arm. She can't be the wife. She can't let you take the controls. She has to be the just badass boss babe. She has to be that. You know what I mean? I want you to think about literally a black man and a black woman in a luxury apartment. Everything is laced. Like those pictures, that bougie ass pictures I just posted with me messing around with the AI image, right? Of the men with the man purses. Those are tactical bags, goddammit. But I'm saying with the AI images and shit, you know what I mean? Picture an apartment like that, and a well-to-do black man and a well-to-do black woman sitting there crying in each other's arms or whatever, because she just will not play the fucking role. She just feels some type of way that when he walks into a room, people know who he is and they don't know who she is. That is a hellified. That's not a hella. That's a hellacious. That is a hellacious. Let me extend my vocabulary. That is a hellacious reason for black men and women not to get together. You got two well-to-do black people, and the issue is he's playing his role. He's a black man. He got money. You know, he's doing the damn thing. And when it comes to her, okay, she got money, but it's like, but there's no reward system in the society for that. Especially not when she's linked up with a man that's doing well. And this is another area where black women significantly, they fail. They fail. Y'all sit there and y'all talk about, oh, there's so much dust in the room. What happens when you get in the space when a brother got it going on and he's got it together? You either revert to some extreme gold digging shit, you know what I mean, where you haven't even established that you even like that category of brother. Right? You just, it's just resources. Just want his resources. Right? Or you can't fucking relinquish the reins. It's literally like inviting a woman into your luxury vehicle and she gets in and you're like, damn, you look nice. And she's like, well, thank you. Okay. You start driving and you start going down the highway. And as soon as you pick up speed, she puts her hand on the steering. Why is your hand on the steering wheel? Oh, I just wanted to be sure. Huh? Like, chick, I got this. We on the highway. We're going to dinner. We're cool. But she got her hand on the steering wheel, holding that bitch for dear life like she's nervous. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what goes on. It's like, chick, we vibing right now. I got this. You know what I'm saying? I pulled up. I got the suit. You looking nice. You got the sequins dress on. You know what I'm saying? I got the whip. You know what I'm saying? We about to look good as a sexy ass black couple. But what's the problem? It's not that neither one of you look good. It's not the fact that there's dustiness. There's no dustiness to be seen here. It's the fact that she won't let go of the fucking steering wheel. Anyway, that's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.